Eric Hoffer. The Passion Mind.
Hoffer lives in one room in a Chinese section of San Francisco. No telephone, no radio or TV, no easy chair. His own files and a few books, a folding bed. Retired now as a longshoreman, he walks almost every day through Golden Gate Park, about 2.5 miles. He sees or hears some little thing. An idea begins to be born. He may jot down a short note about it. A special set of muscles in his brain holds the idea, refines it, maybe for a week, a month, a year, before he writes it out in a paragraph. Then one day, people here and abroad read it with a startled sense of recognition that this is original, profound, and simple. Some people call it genius. One day this summer, we had a talk.
You know, Mr. Hoffer, I've always wondered why you kept on as a laborer after you became a very successful and established writer in this country.
Well, I never became a successful writer. I could never earn my living writing. And I'm not a writer, Mr. Severais. I'm never sure I could write anything. Look, if you would think a thing through to the bitter end, there isn't much to say as far as human affairs are concerned. There isn't a thought that I couldn't express in 200 words. And you can't earn a living writing 200 words.
Mr. Hoffer, everybody has a kind of there's a sort of mechanical process in which one arrives at his ideas. Does manual labor start something going in your mind, leave your mind free to think abstractly? How does it work?
I think some of the most original ideas I had, Mr. Severais, came to me while I was working. And you know what a glorious feeling it is. Here you work, you talk with your partner, you know, and in the back of your head you compose sentences. That's when life is glorious. You have two sides of your head, you know. Oh, it's a feeling that nothing you could surpass this glory, you know, of being able all day long to compose sentence by sentence, and then you come home in the evening, and before you even wash your hands, you sit down, and it's all there. See? It's a glorious feeling. I get the longshoreman mad when I just tell him, you know, I can't think of anything more exciting than going to bed with a half-finished paragraph.
A half-finished paragraph.
And that's it. It's true. Imagine, you take a half-finished paragraph, you go to bed with it, and in the morning, can you think of anything more salubrious, more helpful, more glorious, to sit up in your bed and the first thing to think about is the other half of the paragraph? Your day is made!
Words are pretty powerful things, aren't they?
Oh, they have power, you know, they destroy, they revive. And, you know, in my case, again, being practically illiterate, you know, I actually never, the only way I learned to write is by seeing how other people write, you know. I still, whenever I read, this is my chief preoccupation. How did he do it? How did he do it? I'm still learning. I'm never sure I know how to write. And you know, when I finished this little book, The Temper of Our Time, I sent it to my new editor. He's a very fine person, a very bright person, but young, you know, and he mixed up quality with quantity, and he sent me a letter, Mr. Hoffer, couldn't we thicken it a little bit? I mean, add something, make it a little bigger? I didn't get mad. I wrote him a letter, dear Mr. McRae. I said, the book has 6 chapters. Each chapter has at least 1 original idea. So you have 6 original ideas. Each chapter has at least 2 good sentences. Add it up, you have 6 original ideas, 12 good sentences. Now, when I find a book, even at 1,000 pages thick, that has 6 original ideas, 12 good sentences, I celebrate for a month. And it's a fact. Sure. See, right now, as I'm getting older, how hard it is to find anything that will touch you. If I get just 1 little sentence in my little book, I'll remember the book to the end of my life.
Well, now, how do your friends on the waterfront really look at you, knowing you write books?
Oh, every longshoreman knows that if he tried hard enough, he could write like Shakespeare. Everybody will. How often have I been told by longshoremen that if they did what I do, which is that the moment there is no work, you have your nose in the printed matter. They could write, too.
Now, when I was young and used to work in gangs and teams and one thing or another, the idea that I was a kind of a kid writer, newspaper man, a pseudo-intellectual or something, that used to create a certain alienation with fellows.
But I am one of them. They know that I am one of them, see? I am really average. If you want to know how the average longshoreman is going to vote on anything, you ask me. They're going to vote exactly the way I'm going to vote. Not because I propagandize them, because I'm one of them. I just happen to be interested in ideas. Huh? What's wrong with that? I think you could be a Michelangelo and still be a plain working. This is what I am. And they know that no matter how many books I write, I'm still one of them. All my reactions, there's never been a feeling of separation. They know that I don't want to go anywhere, that if I had the choice to hold it in China, I would never change. I would never go anywhere.
I can't understand how you can make this two sides of your nature in your life operate. You work with these people, you can sit down, drink a beer with them, you're just like them, they take you as one of them. On the other hand, you're seeing them in a different way.
Well, you assume that these people are not intelligent, or let's say intellectual. Let me tell you, these people are tremendously intelligent. And there isn't an idea in the world that I couldn't discuss with these people. I remember when I wrote The True Believer, one night I wrote the only poetical section in that cold book that you call it cold. I don't call it cold at all. It was the chapter on things which are nothing. Maybe you remember that section that from the beginning of time, men fought most desperately for cities yet to be built and gardens yet to be planted. And in the morning I was full of it, and I had to talk to somebody. And I went to work with a Negro in the hall, and I talked to him. And he caught on to it. It turned out that he was a preacher. And next Sunday he preached on things which are not. See? Or take this instance. In January, I received a help letter from, telegram from Harvey Shapiro at the New York Times. Here comes February the 14th, Brotherhood Day, and they haven't got an article. Would I write an article on Brotherhood of Men? Well, I never thought about Brotherhood of Men, never had that thought of it. Now, I like Harvey Shapiro. See, if I can do anything for him, I'll do it. And so I started to think on it, and I had the first sentence. The first sentence read, it's much easier to love humanity as a whole than to love one's neighbor. And so my article was not going to be about the Brotherhood of Men, but the love of neighbor. Now, every longshoreman is a neighbor. Yeah. So I had to find out what it takes to love your neighbor. And that whole article was discussed on the company's time, right under the hook, on the stringers. See? And they wrote it.
You know, you write with a kind of icy objectivity, but you talk with quite a different tone.
Well,
how do you explain it?
I don't know about the icy objectivity there. See, you try to be fair, and you try to write the best way you know. I don't feel that I'm full of ice or anything like that. I'm full of passion, actually. And if I wasn't a passionate person, if I didn't have a passionate state of mind, how the heck would I write about mass movements? How would I write a book, The Passionate State of Mind? How the heck do I know? Doesn't know anybody about it unless he has it in him. And you see, this is the fantastic thing, Mr. Servalas. I had Hitler in me, I had Stalin in me, I had all the murderers in me. Nothing that man has ever done or thought is foreign to me. It's just impossible. You know, I told you about Goethe saying that he has never heard of a crime that he couldn't commit. There are crumbs of everything inside us. And all you have to do is be acquainted with yourself, and you know the whole world.
Mr. Hoffer, you've written a great deal about leisure.
Doesn't it seem to you that free time now is the privilege of more of the working class? The higher you go in a business,
absolutely,
the less time you have.
Of course, America is for the poor, Mr. Severide. Only we have a good time in this country. The rich have it much better elsewhere, better service, more deference. Sure. Even Russia, the rich are better off than they are here. And certainly the intellectuals are better off everywhere else. You know, it's the only people who really feel at home in this country are the common people. America is God's gift to the poor. See? And that's why, for the first time in history, the common people could do things on their own. Oh, This is, nobody mentions this. We are a business civilization, this civilization, but this is the only mass civilization there ever was. The masses, Mr. Severide, eloped with history to America, and we have been living in common law marriage with it, you know, without the incantations of the intellectuals there.